It all started really because I had a fascination for herbs. I really think that most of us know deep down that herbs work, you know. And I put aloe vera on a burn and it healed, and I thought, wow, you know, why don't we know about this? This is way back, and my dog got attacked by another dog, and I filled the wound with Manuka honey, and it cured overnight, you know. So I knew there was something in herbs, but it took me to go to England, and I saw a store called something like Legal Highs, and I said to my partner, you know, what a lot of rubbish, you know, as if herbs would get you high like that, you know, as if they work. And at the same store at Camden Lock Markets in London, I saw another one. I thought, gee, they must work, and I still didn't believe. And then when I saw the third one, I went over to them because I was really curious. And luckily, the man, to try and convince me, showed me a book called Legal Highs. And even though I tried all of these things, they didn't work. And but I bought in the book from America, and when I read it, I read that Damiana is like an alternative to cannabis, and I lived near a cannabis town in Nimbin, northern New South Wales, and could see that people were addicted, and I thought, well, that's interesting. There's a herb that can help people get off cannabis. And then I read that it was really like an aphrodisiac and calming, and I didn't really believe, but I thought, well, this author couldn't be telling a lie. So I brought in Damiana, and immediately we felt it. We felt its calming effect, you know. I tried smoking it and it gave me a happy feel. We started off doing herb stalls, and of course there wasn't a living to be made out of it, but I was just hoping that we could get big enough to educate people. So I did have that mission in mind, that we would run stalls all around Australia, and face to face, that we could get the message out to people, you know. And it did actually happen. We were still very small, just doing the Nimbin markets and the Yukai markets and the Channon markets, and I did Byron Bay markets, and then we went down to Sydney and did the Bondi markets. But one day an announcer from Triple J rang me up, and she said, tell me all about that herb starting with D. I knew straight away Damiana, and I was a bit nervous on the phone. She said, oh no, this is not an interview, this herb has changed my life. And I did a big rave, you know, which I can about Damiana, it's our favourite herb. And she said, oh, you must come down and do an interview. And that's what changed our life around. From that interview, their switchboards jammed, the whole area jammed, all around here, the phones all went down. We had 3,000 calls, we had 1,000 orders for Damiana, because we spoke our truth about the Damiana and just had so many inquiries. That's what set us going, because an organisation called Mind, Body, Spirit Festivals rang us up and invited us to exhibit there, and then other people did the same. So we sort of lifted from local markets into that area. Then one day I got this idea, instead of doing markets and putting up with the rain and, you know, cancellations and all that, maybe I'll take over a shop in Nimbin. And that's how it all happened. So we took the big step at that stage and opened our first shop in Nimbin back in 1996, basically 20 years ago now. And I operated that shop for 5 years. I went down and opened up in Newtown, and then we opened up in Fitzroy in Melbourne, then we opened up in Surfers Paradise in Brisbane, then Byron Bay. And I never thought about expanding through franchising. It never occurred to me until one day somebody who was a customer at one of the festivals, I think it was Woodford, said to me, we'd like to open up a shop in Fortitude Valley. And I went, great. And so we started off our first franchise. Without going into that longer story, we started from the 7 shops that I owned, and it was my goal to, you know, actually have 10 shops. We ended up with over 40 shops, not only here in Australia, but also in America, New Caledonia and London as well. So we really created an impact. And now we're, you know, in Darwin, Alice Springs, 5 shops in Perth, 4 shops in Adelaide, 1 in Fitzroy, 1 in Mornington, 1 in Geelong, 1 in Bendigo, Newtown, Hobart, don't forget Hobart, everybody misses Tasmania, Nimbin, of course, Yukai and Coolangatta, Southport and Surface Paradise and Fortitude Valley, Airlie Beach, Mackay, Townsville, and Cairns and Port Douglas. And that's off the top of my head. I've probably missed out on one or two, but it's a little bit hard to remember them all with 40 of them, you know. And a few operating in America as well. We have herbs that help old people, like gotu kola for arthritis, brahmi for, you know, their brain, and of course we've got herbs like ginkgo biloba that helps students study, herbs like guarana that help people get away from energy drinks.
Back soon on Industry Leaders with more business insight from Ray Thorpe. Now with around 40 happy herb shops across Australia, a man who's built an empire on sharing the simple joy of happy, healing, healthy, non-addictive herbs.